Oh my god, dude. Oh shit.
All right, let me set some ground rules before we move any further, all right? Number one, don't spread any hate harassment towards the individual that I'm going to be talking about, all right? I like to preference that every time I make videos about individuals, simply because I feel like it's only right. Not only that, but just in terms of having a genuine conversation and exchanging different ideas, I think it's more productive that you keep it with the main criticism, not attacking the person based off of their appearance or other characteristics that are out of their control. I think that will greatly discredit the validity of your argument. So I highly suggest people just to stick with the main criticism and just be respectful towards the individuals that I talk about. All right. I like to preference that every time when I talk about people. I think it's very important. And I suggest you guys follow that. Obviously, some people are not going to do that because at the end of the day, this is the internet. Of course, I could delete any potential hateful comments towards the person that I'm talking about, or even towards myself. Like I could do it at any moment, but I'm a person that highly likes free speech. I respect that, and it's not something that I would like to change. Now, let's talk about the good old Jason Paige. Jason Paige. Jason Pod. First of all, let's go back a couple months ago. Now, I've made a video about Jason Paige before, and it's going to be kind of similar to the one I'm actually doing now. I feel like history repeats itself. It may not be 100%, but it certainly does rhyme. So back in the day, I made a video about a few controversies that surrounded Jason Paige at the time. Number one, I think it was a crypto coin that he was endorsing. I didn't like that. I think if you are promoting crypto coins, especially not the actual cryptocurrencies, because those are two different things. There's cryptocurrencies, and then there are crypto coins. I don't like the coins because they're very volatile, and there's a highly likelihood of them being a scam. So I didn't like that. Number two, he was re-uploading other people's content on his page. I think it was Instagram or TikTok without crediting the creators. Now, sometimes he would do it, sometimes he wouldn't. So it was very odd. Again, probably he's not the one uploading it, but it was something that I thought was a problem. So I highlighted in that video in the past. And number three, this was the most controversial topic surrounding the whole conversation. And it was that he was selling his own autograph for a large amount of money, to which I didn't really like that either. I felt like it was pretty insulting to fans of his, and also it was just overall unfair. I highlighted that if you pretty much took any other famous creator or famous celebrity at that and tell them to do the same exact thing that he is doing, people would have a massive problem with that. One thing that I felt like a lot of people just weren't understanding was that I have no problem with charging people to see you at Collecticon because, number one, Collecticon is actually enforcing you to do that anyway, so you have to at least put some sort of price, so I understand that. Second, you're not actually standing in line just to get a simple autograph. You're standing in line to actually meet the person that you like, a person that you've been wanting to meet all this time. So I feel like those two are very different things. And Jason Paige at the time, he was selling autographs by themselves, or autographs on other items for about like $500 to $1,000. And I just personally didn't like that. I thought that was just a little bit unfair to his fans. And among other things as well, as for example, there was this one time that Jason Paige was practically trying to trade a card that a vendor had for his own autograph signature cards. And obviously the vendor denied that, says probably not. But I think what a lot of people had is, why are you assigning an arbitrary number to cards and expect people to value them the same as you do yourself? And I actually talked about those topics with Jason Paige after my first video was released. We had a extensive, I think an hour and a half long podcast. I pressed him on the topics. I gave my point of view. He gave his, and he was really respectful. You know, I really appreciate the way he was able to communicate with me. I can't say I agree with everything that he said, but he was really respectful, and he even donated to me at the very end. So I appreciate everything that he did, and I don't harbor any hatred towards him. However, as of recently, he has done something that I personally have a massive issue with, and I would like to highlight it. And also ask Jason Paige if he thinks that this is the right move to continue pursuing, because I believe personally that this is crossing some very sketchy territory that I personally don't think would be wise to go into. So apparently, my boy Jason Paige is gonna go to a place called Hobbycon. And Hobbycon posted this little image on their Instagram. And as you see, my boy Jason Paige looks like he's doing good. Nice little crown on your head. It seems that he is selling his autographs again, or assigning prices depending on what the people want. And I see a few problems with this. Now, he has been selling his autograph ever since the controversy of him selling his signatures in the first place. So he hasn't really pivoted or changed his opinion on selling his signatures. But I feel like he just took it to like a whole other level, like 100 times more than it was. For example, we have the first option. We got a Jason Paige's original autographed on your item, $70. Okay, listen. I personally think that's too much, but who am I to, judge? He's able to, whatever, assign a value on his signature all he wants, right? And then on the right side, you have a full autograph for $140. Double the first one. And at first, when I saw this, I thought, whoa, I must be seeing things, because there's absolutely no way that he is charging double for something that looks virtually the same. But after a second glance, I realized that was exactly what it looked like. He is basically saying that if you want an actual full autograph of his name, you got to pay double. And if you want like more of a scribbly one, you get, a half off. Oh, what a steal there, man. I'm not more or less judging the prices of these, although I think they're not stellar, to say the least. I'm more or less judging the thought process and logic behind even doing this in the first place. Like, why would you make one autograph that is more scribbly and another autograph that is more concise and bold and sell it for double the price? Regardless of what price it is, I feel like it would just be a weird idea for anyone to do. For example, if somebody even sold their signature for $1 and sold their more bold autograph for $2, I would probably say the same exact thing. I would probably say, hey, what the hell? This is the most stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Number two, we got a signed certificate of authenticity. Another $20 on top of that. Guys, I think I've just cracked the code. What if hold up, hear me out. What if I actually just get the certificate instead of getting the signatures? Because the certificate is already signed, right? So, therefore, I'm basically getting his signature, at least for the third of the price. Oh my god, I think I might be a genius, guys. Holy shit. And then we have an inscription up to 6 words, $35 extra. Not bad, not bad. Examples, gotta catch them all. A heart, so true. Be the very best. The best that ever was. Wow, that's pretty crazy, but I completely understand it. It's very hard to write an extra, like, 2-3 words on top of the autograph that they already did. Like, I'm sure that if somebody walks up to you and pays you $70 and they ask you to say love from Jason Paige, I'm sure they're going to be very happy when you say, hey, that'll be another extra $35. I'm sure that's going to play out absolutely amazingly. It's going to be a real winner for the fans. And then we have a multicolor autograph, two colors. Another extra $25. Okay, understandable. I completely understand the logic of this. Obviously, hold up, let me find a pen right here. Obviously, if I'm writing something with one pen, it takes like 3 seconds after that to get the second pen. So obviously, those 3 seconds are worth another extra, what was it, $25? Another $25, of course. That makes perfectly logical sense. There's no holes in that argument at all. I'm sure that a lot of celebrities do this. It's probably very, very common. So, you know what? If they're allowed to do it, let my boy Jason Paige do it as well, I guess. And then we got artist drawn doodle sketch for we got artist doodle sketch for $100. We got Pikachu, Gengar, Pokeball, JP logo, abstract, no Funko Pops. Why no Funko Pops? Are they hard to draw on or something? I don't know. Like, see, me personally, I'm bringing a freaking Funko Pop if I'm gonna get my freaking shit signed. Okay, so I don't know why they had beef with Funko Pops all of a sudden. I thought Jason Paige signed a bunch of them. Listen, Jason Paige can do whatever he wants. At the end of the day, it's his brand, his signature, his way of doing things. It's completely up to him. I am simply a bystander in all of this. However, I'd like to at least share my opinion, and I just think that it's incredibly disrespectful to your fans. I really do think that this is kind of milking your own brand, milking your own image just for the sake of financial profit. And I really think if you apply this standard to pretty much any other celebrity remotely, a lot of people would be very upset about this. Now, take for example, and this is a great parallel in my opinion, Pokey Dean. Now, his signature, you know what it is? Every single signature he does, or at least if the person asks him to do it, he always does a Charizard little drawing next to his autograph. Obviously, completely for free. He has never charged for his autograph any single day in his whole entire life. But not only that, he literally takes time to draw a literal Charizard head with extreme detail. It genuinely, in my opinion, looks like it should be sold for at least $100. But of course, he never does that because he probably feels guilty doing it. I just feel like it would be unfair for the fans that ask for the bare minimum of, hey, can you just assign a couple more words on top of the autograph? Or, hey, can you do a small little doodle of a Pikachu? I personally feel like this is very disrespectful towards your fans. At the start, it was fine if you want to sell your autograph for a little bit of money. That's fine. But I feel like any sane person that has been in this community for at least a couple days, or even a person that's outside of this community, can see that this is just a little disrespectful. I feel like it truly looks like somebody that is trying to purposely milk their brand, their image, and their fans for some financial gain. And I believe a lot of people would be very, very mad about this. I for sure would be mad if I walked up to Jason Paige, if I was a fan, and asked for a multicolor autograph, and then he says, you know, that will be $70, but since you did the multicolor option, you're gonna have to pay another $25. I think it's a little too far. I mean, I think there are some levels to this. Fine, sell your autograph for however price you want, but this, I feel like it's just taking it to extreme that it's not really necessary to do. And I saved the best for last. We have a premium item upcharge. On items over $55, upcharge is equal to the value of the item. If you want to tell me directly that there is some sort of celebrity out there that does this, please, my ears are completely wide open. The problem is you won't find a person that does this. The reason being is that from the outside perspective, at least, it looks incredibly exploitative. Now, I would like to preface this again. Jason Paige could do whatever he wants. He could sell whatever he wants. I'm not trying to be some sort of tone policer. I'm not trying to be the moral police here. It's just my opinion. I shouldn't have the right to force that upon anybody else. However, I would like to ask Jason Paige just a simple question. Do you think that this is something that will benefit your image? Do you think that this is something that will positively impact you and your fans? Do you genuinely think that this is something that you should do? Not if you can do it, because those are two different things. Just because you can do something, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the most appropriate action to do. Do you think that this is the best call? Especially after knowing how many people have an issue with stuff like this. I mean, I've had a conversation with Jason Paige, an extensive one at that. I've told him my perspective, and to his credit, he acknowledged it to some extent. And that part puzzles me the most. He is not blind. He understands that people have an issue with stuff like this. But even so, he continues to do it at like a 10x extreme. And that's just something that I personally don't understand. If I was in his position, and if I knew that people had an issue with something that I did, then I wouldn't just take it to a whole other level. I think that regardless if you think you're in the right or wrong, I think to save some sort of reputation, to try to minimize the criticism and backlash that I get, I wouldn't do this. I don't think it's a smart move at all. Even if you genuinely want to do something, you genuinely think that you're doing nothing wrong, logically, I just do not think that this is the right call. Now, that's just my perspective. And Jason, do you personally think that's the right call to do? I'm asking you. I just personally don't understand of doing something that you already know people have an issue with and bumping it up to freaking 100x. I just don't think that is something that will benefit your image, your reputation. And neither do I think this is something that will benefit your audience as well, your fans. I'm not a fan of this. I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of this. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. It is what it is, I guess. Jason, you can do whatever you want. I'm not saying you can't do something. It's totally up to you. I'm just asking, do you honestly think that this is the best action, the best decision that you could do? Anyway, that's pretty much about it. See you later, weebs.
せーのでもそんなんじゃダメもうそんなんじゃほら心は進化するよもっと